If you're one of those very organized people, you're gonna love this. Over here is my account in one screenshot, basically showcasing what Pokemon I use for each ingredient whenever I need them. And you can also make this yourself. It's very simple, and I'm going to go through how to make this using a preset template made by a Pokemon Sleep content creator, Nerth, and you can find his YouTube channel under Nerth. Now, in order to get this template, I'm going to leave a link in the comments section and also in the description below. And what you'll see at first is something like this. Currently, it's version 1.7.3. And what you'll want to do is make a copy for yourself because you can't edit the master template. So you go to File, make a copy, and make a copy in your account. Just to show you guys how this sheet actually works, I'm going to start a new sheet so you guys can see. So I've made a new copy. Now, of course, you can change the name of the sheet. I'm going to write Piggy's Pokemon Spread. And in order to input Pokemon into the spreadsheet, the main sheet you'll be using is the control panel. So you go to control panel, it's as simple as inputting the Pokemon that you have for each ingredient. So for example, Piggy may have a Dugtrio for leak, and then it will automatically fill in the base ingredient of that Pokemon, and then you'll input whatever ingredient at level 30 and 60 you have for that Pokemon, hopefully double leak. And then we'll do the same thing for every single ingredient. The Pokemon that are listed under the little drop down are restricted to only Pokemon that can give that ingredient. So it's very neat. So tasty mushroom. So you can just use the little drop down button. For Cacao, Piggy may have Blastoise. So we're going to put in Cacao there. I think she's got a Moo Moo Milk Blastoise. Piggy's got a Beware that has triple corn. So we're going to put in Beware in this list. I don't believe Piggy's got a good Dratini yet. So we're going to leave that empty and so on. Now, these are the main farmers, but sometimes you may have a secondary farmer. You may have a really good Meganium that you use all the time, so you find that you don't actually need Blastoise on the team very much to get Cacao. So what you do is that you might have a secondary Pokemon that provides you with those ingredients. So for example, in this case, I may put in Meganium, and then I'm going to put in Cacao at level 30, and what will happen is the Pokemon that you've inputted in the control panel will show up in the dashboard. So it's a very quick and beautiful way to showcase your account to other players as well. You just take a screenshot of this and show them, look, this is my current spread at the moment. And of course, everyone's account is going to look a little different. And how you decide to utilize this sheet is totally up to you. You might only want to put ingredient specialists for the 2 slots, as opposed to having berry specialists also show up in this ingredient spread. This is certainly much more organized to do than having the infographic with the ingredient spread and then ticking what you have and don't have. And it's very tailored to what you actually need. Now you might ask, how about berry specialists? Is there a way for us to also do a graphic similar to this? Now, I'd say that for berry specialists is actually pretty straightforward. You don't really need a graphic, but if you wanted one, you can. If we scroll across, we actually have the same thing for berry specialists. In fact, this is my own account that shows what Pokemon I've got covering for which berry types. I've really mainly included berry specialists here, but I could also put in the secondary box some ingredient specialists that might have berry finding S, or even skill specialists. For example, I've got a Wigglytuff that does berry finding S for fairy berries, so I could put it in the secondary box. Similarly, you would go to control panel and scroll across to the berry specialists and basically input the same thing. But this time, instead of putting in ingredients, you would put whether the Pokemon has berry finding S or helping bonus. Of course, that's not to say that these 2 are the only good skills that you can have, but they are the highest tier skills for any berry specialist. So by completing this control panel, I now have a complete spreadsheet that shows which berry type I've got covered and which berry types or ingredients I still need to hunt Pokemon for. For example, you can very clearly see that I'm very much short on apples. Now, there are some additional tools in this spreadsheet if you want to take your organization skills another step further. So under targets, what you can do is you can put in the Pokemon that you're after. And I tested this sheet myself. It works okay. I don't think this is the most important part of the spreadsheet. but it's a way for you to organize yourself to see what things you should be hunting for in the near future by inputting the stuff that you've got that are really good for each specialty. So for example, I've got a really good Walrein for alligator, so under berry specialist, I've got them listed under perfect, whereas I'm still hunting for a good berry specialist for bug types, poison types, ghost types, rock types, so that's why I've got them down under targets. And similarly, you can repeat the process with ingredient specialists and skill specialists. Now there is one more tab for those of you who are looking at which area to hunt what Pokemon. The Rainanix calculator has a very comprehensive list of all the Pokemon, but what this sheet allows you to do is to tailor the information to your own account. So if, for example, if I'm only hunting 5 or 6 Pokemon, let's say I only want Entei, and maybe I'm looking for Ekans, and maybe I'm looking for Delibird, well, you just punch those Pokemon in to the list here, and it will tell you which areas that they spawn on. Of course, you'll still need to meet the minimum requirements for Entei or Delibird to spawn, but at least it gives you an idea of which area you might want to go to next because, for example, at Greengrass, I can encounter all 3 of these Pokemon that I want. Of course, besides the fact that I don't want to go to Greengrass, because my area bonus there is maxed out, then the second best option would be to forgo Delibird and maybe hunt at Taupe Hollow for Entei and Ekans. Now this is just an example, I'm not saying I'm going to Taupe Hollow to hunt Entei and Ekans, but what you can do is you can come up with your own list of your top 5 or 10 Pokemon you want to hunt in this list, and you'll be able to see which area you might want to go to next during a non-event week for more chances to encounter the Pokemon that you want. So I think it's a very neat addition to our armamentarium of tools to use to help with this game. Now, as the sheet gets updated over time, your version won't get updated, unlike using the Rainanix calculator, for example. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to make a new copy, but of course, each time you make a new copy, it'll be all empty again. But what you can do is you can actually copy and paste your data from one sheet to another. So I'll show you that quickly. Let's say I make a new copy now, and I'm going to call this test. And what I want to do is go to control panel, and of course it's all empty because it's a new sheet. Now what you want to do is copy over your current list. So for example, that's my old sheet. I copy this, so I go control C or right click and go copy. And then I want to paste value only. And as you can see, all the previous Pokemon gets added to the new sheet, and they will appear on the dashboard. It will look a bit funny if you do it this way though, because the images don't copy over. So if you want them to look nice, so I'm just going to undo what I did there. So if you want it to look nice with all the images appearing, then you need to copy one column at a time, avoiding the images from your previous sheet. So like this, I'm going to copy the Pokemon list, and then I'm going to copy over the ingredient list. And in this way, your control panel will look a bit nicer. The tabs that have a little lock icon, you don't really need to interact with them, but you can read them. So for example, you can read this page here that tells you, well, basically how to use this form. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. And by the way, I've recreated the mono ingredient meta, or the mono ingredient list, using this spreadsheet, and I think it looks quite nice. It's another way that we can look at displaying what to hunt for when we're looking for ingredient specialists. And of course, if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments section below. If you think this form is going to be a good addition to our tools, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel.